Hello, leaders. Welcome back to the Leadership Lounge. As always, it's so good to have you just a part of this community. And I sincerely hope and pray that it is just encouraging you in this season. Lord knows that in this season of leadership, no matter what industry you might be in, it's probably had its challenges the past couple of years. And so I just commend you for being leaders of valor. I commend you for serving people so diligently. And hey, I'm so excited for what we're going to get into today. I want to go over just the importance of team evaluations. Team evaluations. Okay. And I'm not necessarily talking through the lens of evaluating your entire team at once. I'm more talking through the lens of evaluating team members personally and their performance and their service to the organization. And I'm just going to walk you through some practical steps on what I've seen done before, and maybe what I'll do sometimes with certain team members. So I know that it's going to help you. And as always, I just want to break it down in some points. And then I'm going to share my screen and walk through an evaluation that I've been a part of before as a team member. And I just hope it resources you well. All right. So let's get into it. I'm going to give you 7 steps on to perform an effective evaluation to a team member personally. So let's say you perform these evaluations twice a year. Some people go to the extent of once a quarter. Some people do it more. And of course, we've talked about the importance of doing accountability, check-ins, forms, stuff like that. So this is different. This is a little bit more of an intensive. You sit down, you give them feedback, you give them some handles, you give them some practical moves on how they can move forward and perform more effectively. Now, again, the heart behind evaluations is not, I'm sitting in a seat of power or sitting in a seat of position, and you do everything that I tell you to do. You need to get your stuff together. You know, this is not to, completely be negligent with empathy. We talk about empathy a lot. This is when you still apply emotional intelligence and great care, but your heart is to really serve them and give them proper feedback on what they can do to feel more, one, fulfilled, and then of course in turn of that they perform more effectively for the organization, and of course more productivity happens then. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 steps to get a drink of coffee here. Haven't spoken much today, so my mouth is trying to catch up with my mind. Okay, so let's jump into some points today. Okay, the first thing I encourage you to do, so let's say you are already seeing through the lens of I'm here to serve them, and you've made a clear case on why you do evaluations and the heart behind it. Okay, and maybe you already have some type of relational equity with them on some level. We are putting ourselves now in the meeting, inside the meeting, okay, inside the evaluation. This is maybe you've done a Google form or some type of other form. They've completed it, evaluating themselves. That's really important. We'll get into more of that in just a minute. But you first want to, number one, let's write this down, encourage them. Okay, what I'm about to show you is effective in many scenarios, and we've talked about some of this before, but it's the power of the sandwich. Okay, you affirm, you adjust, and you affirm. Okay, you affirm, confront, affirm, whatever it might be, but you sandwich it in between 2 encouraging segments there, and it just helps people receive. And of course, You're being genuine and authentic about it. You're not just doing it just to adjust or correct. Remember, all this is for the edification of the team member, not for a personal gain of power. Remember this. Again, this is for solely, or at least primarily, it is for the edification, the benefit of the team member. And as a return of that investment, the organization is edified as well. Okay, so number one, encourage them. Bring up some very specific things on what they've done so well. Share your heart for them, compliment them, encourage them, inspire them. Take a moment up front, break the ice with this. Just say, man, John, I just want to say, man, I've watched you this past quarter, and brother, you've been doing so well. And I've been so pleased, so impressed. Matter of fact, I've been inspired by you, your work ethic, your family, the care for your family. It has inspired me as a man. Absolutely. You just encourage me. And I just want to encourage you with these words today, man. You are doing so much better than you think you are. And I love having you on this team. However that translates to you. Okay. So number one, encourage them. Number two, show gratitude. People, they want to feel just like you and I, they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel seen. They want to feel like they're contributing. And it would go a long ways if a leader that they respect, that has influence in their life, shows their gratitude toward them. Hey, John, man, I just want to thank you for all you do for this company. You have been such a blessing here, and man, thank you. And John, I really hope that this is bringing you some fulfillment as well. But I know that your service to this company has brought fulfillment to me, has taken off a load off my shoulders, and you're just doing an absolutely excellent job. I'm so grateful for you, and I just want you to hear that from me. I'm grateful, so on. So that's number two, show gratitude. So one, encourage them. Two, show gratitude. Again, I got to constantly put this disclaimer in there. I know that every leader on this call is not necessarily a business owner or has a leverage point to take this approach. Okay, so we've talked about it before, but leaders know how to pick up stuff and translate it into their language, into their context. Okay, so let this fit. I'm just trying to give you principles here, not always necessarily methods. I encourage you to listen to these teachings through the lens of principle, not always method. Okay, so two, show gratitude. Case in point on that. Maybe you don't say something like, when you're showing gratitude, I just quoted a moment ago, you are making this desk lighter, or you're taking weight off my shoulders. Maybe that doesn't translate in your industry. Maybe you are a part of an MLM, a multi-level marketing, an MLM. Maybe you're just showing gratitude for just what they do contribute to the organization, or you're just thanking them for being a friend, or thanking them for being simple or easy to work alongside of, or however it translates. Okay, so that's number two, show gratitude. Number three, highlight their value. This is why I move slowly in the mornings. I just straight up spilled coffee on me. Good morning, everybody. Okay. Highlight their value, number three. Highlight the value, specifically what they bring to the company. Specifically, what value they bring to the company. Okay. So this is when you call out specifics here. You are valuable because you are full of excellence. You are an incredible communicator. You simplify things. You love to resolve conflict. You are influential because you love to serve people so well. You're so compassionate, whatever it might be. Highlight their value specifically. Use specifics. Okay. That's number 3. Highlight their value. Number 4, give feedback. This right here is when you take a little bit of a turn. Okay. But this is incredibly valuable. And true leaders who serve under you should be able to take this and should be grateful for it. Okay. Now, of course, this is because your heart, your approach is through the lens of love and of care and to serve them. This is not when you sit back and say, I've got this all figured out. My heart is to simply serve you. So I would give them feedback. And probably this is when you would work through the form that I'm about to open up in just a minute. You open up the form and kind of maybe walk through some of their responses. But I would go into it having done the form for them yourselves and give them specific feedback. In other words, give them 3 main points to work on. Hey, when we leave today, I want you to follow up with these 3 action steps. And then, of course, number 5, be clear on what to do. So don't just say, hey, man, I need you to do better, or I need greater productivity. What does that mean? What does that look like? Okay. Hey, man, I need you to communicate more effectively. Okay. What does that mean, though? Right. And so number 4, give feedback, give them 3 main points to work on. Number 5, be clear what to do. And number 6, stay humble. Like I just said a moment ago, don't act like you have it all figured out. Okay. Stay humble, stay low, open up about maybe some of your struggles as well. The things that maybe a leader in your life has corrected you on. You know, if you would back up to number 4, if you say, what I would love for you to work on is your communication moving forward and just be more clear on what you mean when you say it. Sometimes it's hard to walk away. I found that it's hard to walk away knowing exactly what you're trying to communicate. And this is when you would say, you would apply empathy and say, man, I totally understand this one right here. I'm constantly being adjusted on this one right here as well. And this is why maybe I'm not clear. And I can identify a lot with maybe how you're not perceived as clear all the time as well. So I totally feel you on that. It's a struggle of mine. My personality kicks in, whatever. Just apply empathy here and apply humility. It goes a long ways. Okay. My former pastor, he did so well on, he cared for us so much. So anytime he would correct, it was obvious it was through the lens of love. But he had a way of correcting and encouraging us so much. We would almost be confused. Like, you're like, wow, did I just get corrected or encouraged, or a beautiful blend of both? And that's because he applied major empathy and he was open and honest with us. And we knew, he didn't even have to prove it. We knew that he was doing it for our benefit and not his personal power gain. Okay, so stay humble. And number 7, lastly, okay, end on a high note. This is when you affirm them again. This is when you cast vision. This is when you talk about how your vision or their vision, you know, if I'm quoting, hey, John, your vision aligns with the vision of the organization in this way. And I feel like this is how the vision of the organization can even serve your vision. And this is how your vision can serve the organization's vision. You know, all this stuff, but affirm them, cast vision, inspire, swing it up, end on a high note, show gratitude again. Just affirm them once again, thank them. And then, of course, this is when you say, you know, hey, I'm going to follow up with you here in a few weeks and just see how you're doing with these things we talked about today. Again, man, I just want to thank you for everything you've done and everything you are doing. You are making a difference here. You bring so much to this table. And I could not imagine Right now, I could not imagine this organization without John being in it. And I just want to say, man, thank you. Okay, so those are a few steps. Encourage them, show gratitude, highlight their value specifically, give them feedback, give them 3 main points on what to do. Number 5, be clear on what to do. Number 6, stay humble. Number 7, end on a high note. End on a high note. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. And let me get over to it. Okay, I'm going to walk through an evaluation that I've been a part of before. And I'm not going to submit because it would go to an old organization, but I'm going to walk through it as if I'm going to submit it. Okay, let's do this. This is just an example of maybe a form that you could give team members, but of course, change it to your, I don't know what today is. Today the 30th, 31st. Okay. Anybody else still putting 2021? Your boy is. Okay. Tyler Wooten, executive staff member. Let's say it's Pastor Dustin Bates, of course. This is from Church 1132, where I worked at a few years back. Okay. Oh, let me go back and read this expectations. I think this will help put some verbiage to what I'm trying to say. As a staff, we should always be looking for ways to develop and get better. As an org, we use performance evaluations as one of the ways to help you meet that goal. You should feel like performance evaluations as a time of stretching and reflecting. That's so important. Reflect. This form, this approach causes them to really reflect. Okay. The evals are designed to create open and honest conversations about your performance, development, and our culture. Okay. Performance, development, and culture. Okay. So, of course, it's a typical scale here. You are evaluating yourself. Okay. Communication. Let's say I'm, pretty good at communicating, but I know I got some stuff to work on. Let's just walk through here. Solutions. I bring solutions to the table. I feel like that. I'm gonna go ahead and give me a 9. I have a hard time giving me a 10. I feel like I can bring some solutions. I don't mind making decisions. I'll go ahead and give me a 10 on that one. Sometimes they're not always the right ones, but I don't have a problem doing it. Okay. Feedback rating, the ability to receive feedback. Oh man, I love it. Give me feedback all day. Leadership. I'm just gonna put 9. Actually, I'm gonna put 8. Okay. I'm starting to feel I've scored myself pretty high on these. I'm starting to feel kind of weird about it. Okay. So teamwork. Oh man, I kind of actually struggle with I'm a team player, but I love to do solo projects. I'm gonna give it 6 because I would love to dive into conversations about that with my oversight, and get some feedback on that. Stewardship. This goes about resources, money, people, budget, time, etc. I feel like I manage that pretty effectively. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give myself an 8 right here. Witness, of course, this is because it's a church, and this is talking about living a Christian lifestyle outside of the workplace. And I'm gonna give myself a 9, because I got a little bit to work on, because a 10 just feels weird. Okay, so these are some good questions right here. What were your primary accomplishments? I'm saying do some gibberish here for speed's sake. Is your current workload reasonable? Yes, blah, 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 blah. What changes? Your job description. Okay, so this is important to have. Every one of your team members ought to have a job description, so that they can answer this more effectively. And it brings clarity and expectations to their desk. Okay, so some blah, 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 critical strengths and relationships. What are these critical skills, strengths, and relationships you built or improved and applied during this evaluation period? So, of course, there are more than one every year. So we work on these, and then we come back for the second evaluation. Hopefully we are doing better. What critical skills, strengths, relationships would you like to develop for the next evaluation period? Whatever, teamwork, blah, blah, blah. What is one aspect of your personality and character that you would like to be different next year at this time? How does it need to shift? Resting punk face. because I'm not going to put RBF here because that's inappropriate. I'm just playing. Okay, so I'm just gonna put gibberish. Okay, I would submit if I submitted, they would text me and be like, "Hey, bro, you're doing these evaluations." But you get the general gist of it right here on just some of the questions that you can ask. But again, I encourage you, start these early in your company. Start these as soon as possible, and if you incorporate them, whether it's the first week on the job or you are 27 years into it, I would just cast vision on why these are important. And I would just, let them know that you are also doing these for yourselves. Okay. But the heart behind it is really the key, that you want to simply serve them. And then, of course, in turn, the vision, what we're trying to accomplish together. Because I've seen it done. I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday. They were talking about how they were doing these a lot in their company. And the heart behind it was it was so intense and so unclear. And there was some power stuff there. And this person specifically didn't even feel seen. It was just like, what can the approach was, more of what can this employee give to people? And it was like never communicating that there was great care in this process for the employee himself. So the heart behind it is to serve them. Okay. I hope this helps today at all. And once again, translate it to your industry. But I think these go a long ways. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I love you. And let's continue to serve people. That's what leadership is about, first and foremost. Okay. And once again, we talked the past couple of weeks about different resources. This is one of the ones that I bought a couple of years back. It's been a really good resource for me. Brendan Burchard, High Performance Habits. I encourage you to go get it. Take your time in it. It's just a really good resource. I just want to always give you a resource each week, as long as I don't forget. But I encourage you to go get that. Just get it on Amazon or his website. Okay. Love your family. Keep on doing what you do.